I guess she didn't want to talk to us.
She said, I guess, sometimes she gets Wi-Fi issues too. So I'm assuming that's what happened.
Yeah, it's a little hairy around these here parts.
Come on, New York. Step up these Wi-Fi.
There we
New
go.
York.
There she is.
Hey, y'all. I didn't have Wi-Fi problems. I have Brookstone problems.
That too.
She coming in hot.
Right. She said, it ain't Wi-Fi home.
No, I heard what I heard. Y'all started it.
Well, no, but sometimes you do have Wi-Fi. Sometimes it is the Wi-Fi.
I didn't always have Wi-Fi, reliable Wi-Fi, unlike some people that have guest hosted on this podcast.
That is true.
Coming in hot.
That is true.
Hey, community. Here's what's brewing today.
Diddy kind of did it.
Beyonce is a survivor.
Yes. And booty bangs and inner thigh meat. So get your cups ready for Minority Report. Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
It's Auntie Dewan.
And it's Auntie Marko.
Hey.
Filling in for Auntie Jarrell. Auntie Jarrell.
Hey, usually we say it's Dewan out in these European streets, but this week it's Auntie Heyyy over in Wimbledon with my man, Patrick Marataglu. I was like, girl, if you don't mess with my man.
Hey,
I was like, you better get your hands off my man. Come on, hey, Patrick. Ooh,
I love all these, everyone in the streets these days. That's hot.
That is low-key, that is a fine-looking seasoned gentleman.
Yeah.
Baby, Patrick is stay getting it. Body down, face card down. I like the little accent, all the above. And clearly he likes chocolate because his wife is chocolate. Serena was chocolate. Yes, Patrick, choose me, Patrick.
What you got on that shirt there, girl?
Yes, a bang. A booty bang.
Somebody say booty bang.
Oh Lord, how y'all doing today?
Doing good.
What you about to say, Dewan?
I said we need to get that on a T-shirt and get that up in
Booty
our merch
bang.
store. The
Booty
bang.
bang, yeah.
Booty
for
bang.
sure.
And that actually makes me think. Community, by the way, we're going to be in the midst of changing our provider because they done messed up this last order that one of the community members still ain't got their shit. They ain't got the replacement order that had done sent either. So I'm a little upset with our provider. So if you are also ordering shit and it's not there, sorry. We're in the midst of trying to find a new provider because this is bullshit. But yes, with the new provider, maybe that'll be the launch. It'll be the booty bang tea.
Obsessed.
And I forget what episode was that on, because I know this was our end of year. It was one year. Yeah. It was one of our end of the year episodes where it was kind of like it was ask your aunties asking your aunties or something like that.
It might have been an evergreen
one
that we did. I think that's what it was. It might be beginning this year, end of last year. I forget, but yeah, we've done found out Dewan love him a little booty bang.
I love booty bangs.
When you said that to the group, because Steve and I listened to the podcast, but Eduardo and Tony had no idea what you were talking about, and so they were like, "Wait, pause." Let's take a quick rewind.
The question was, what is one of your favorite body parts?
Yes, that's
the
what it
male
was.
body. And everybody went around, and I said, low key for me, the body part that drives me absolutely bonkers is the booty bangs, and that's the tuft of hair that sits in the small of the back above the butt cheeks.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. I love them booty bangs.
Yes.
And people be like, there was a long time where a lot of people who, where body hair wasn't as socially acceptable within the gay community, and people were shaving their shit off and nairing themselves, where there was a lot of people that, did not appreciate the Bayang and the Bayak. But I did. And I always did. And I still do.
He said, I still do. He said,
Yes.
gets frothy back there. Gets frothy.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to stop talking. Wait a minute. Let me take a sip.
Right. I'm here for it because it's always Carell that's over here talking about like the sexual stuff and everything. So to see Dewan get excited about the booty bang, I'm always here for it.
What do you want to talk about? I'll talk about all of it because I don't even get to talk about it on our podcast because Steve be so bashful. So.
You know what, Marko? What's your favorite part? Obviously, a community we know Marko is married, so we could say on his husband, but
no, you don't have to say that.
Maybe he don't listen to the podcast as regularly,
so you
can sneak in here and tell us.
Look,
what
they
like
grown as
I was like,
minions.
no, I don't. No, you don't even have to say all that. You could just say on a meanses. I love. So I do actually love body hair. Like I love chest hair. I enjoy hair on like the abs and stuff like that. But I love a good bicep. I'm like really in. I said sept. Why did I add a T to that? A good bicep.
Hey, we get it.
Like
she's enunciating.
sort of like my grandmother talking about some Judge Judy.
I like the Krogers.
A bicep. No, I love a good bicep. And yeah, I think I really these days I'm really into fucking thick thighs. I love a meaty thigh.
That inner thigh meat, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I do it every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Especially now that I go to the gym regularly. These straight men just be wearing these short ass shorts and that inner thigh meat, I am telling you.
It's
I'm looking
homophobic.
every damn time.
It's
Every damn
homophobic
time.
is what it is. I don't appreciate it. Like, why are you walking around here with all that? Like,
All of that. All of that like it's 96.
it's not, not into it.
Yeah, that inner thigh meat.
Yeah.
There is something about really thick thighs, and this is coming from someone who does not have them at all. You know, this is just my legs.
Not the metal straw.
Oh no!
I'm sorry. You have what you have, and you just got to like learn how to embrace it. So, but
Yes.
there is something really just like, wow. And somebody has really thick thighs that like where I could imagine two of my thighs fitting in one of yours. That is crazy to me.
And then you throw that bang on the
it's
back
crazy
to one.
hot.
You turned out.
Oh.
You turned out, huh?
Let me tell you something. Do you remember when there
Start
was
sweating.
there was that craze when social media influencers, like especially like personal trainers and guys that like work out were crushing watermelons with their thighs?
Baby.
Yes.
Pornography. I was like,
Can you put my head in between them legs?
I was like,
Please.
this is
I don't need these brains. Just put my head between
Squish
the
me,
legs.
baby. Squish.
this is art. This is art right here. This is it. This is all I need all day. I'm like,
Not
yeah,
Guggenheim.
yes. Oh my god. I was like, this is perfection right here. Like, yeah. Oof. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Community, this was not even on the list, but hey, we're going with it. I am here for it.
Carell over here just longing. And
I am. Because it was leg day at the gym today too, so like I was all by all the leg parts today,
Yeah.
all the leg section of the gym.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, but like even now, like I never was like a back person, but there's this one guy at the gym, super cute, and he's like a young kid, works at the grocery store behind the meat counter. And one day I came home, I was like, Corey. And I didn't know he worked at the meat counter because normally I don't go during the week, and I don't think he works the weekends, but I just happened to go during the week, and he was working there. And I was like, oh, that's the cute boy from the gym. So I came home and told Corey, I was like, because I had told him there's this cute boy at the gym, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Corey, it's the meat counter guy at Acme. He's like, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. He is just so cut up. And when he does like back day, he'll wear like the little stringers and everything. I was never really a back person. But his back, I'm like, oh my God.
Keep
Like,
talking. Let me go get the lotion real quick.
Right. baby. I'm like, this man is sexy as shit, and he got the inner thigh meat too. It's just too much. I'm like, this shit is too much for me.
Yeah.
Oh, community, let us know what. I forget if people wrote in during that episode. If you did, we need to hear some more. What do you like on the men's?
We were going to put a
poll,
post or something out there to like collect some information.
We're going
from
to
the
put this one
community,
out there
but I
this
think
week for sure.
that fell
Mental
through
note,
cracks.
Carell, make a clip of this. Community, what do you like on the men's? Put it in the chat. We want this to be the biggest chat, the biggest conversation of the year. Put it out there and give us some examples too. What IG pages you follow?
Yes.
Yes, please.
I've got a few that I can send your way.
Please do. Oh, man. Anyway, community, since last time Marko was here, there's probably been some updates on the podcast. If you're not listening to his podcast, we'll get all the insights on that. But there were some changes that were on Pod Relationship here. Relationship Pod, I should say. Explain the changes and what's new over there in podcast land for you, boo.
Well, thank you. Yeah, after 10 seasons, I mean, you guys have heard my voice a couple of times on the podcast because I've been on here not only by myself but also with my then co-host / husband, or I guess husband / co-host.
Still husband.
Depends on the day, huh?
Yeah, right. But yeah, Tony and I, after 10 seasons, Tony was done. He felt like he had said everything that he wanted to say, and he was no longer interested in being part of that podcast life. So I did not feel as though I was done. I felt like I still had a lot more to say. And so I reached out to a very best / dear friend of mine. His name is Steve Lowe. Yeah, we love us some Steve. And I was like, bitch, how do you feel about doing a podcast together? Because I think that as a single person that's in these streets, that's in the trenches, that's like...
Just put his business all out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the trenches, but he's like also, he's doing the leg work. And by leg work, I mean...
The inner thigh meat work.
Yeah, he out here doing the leg work. And so I'm like, what if we did a podcast from the perspective of a single black gay man that is out here and a married black gay man, and we talk about relationship issues and dating situations, and we talk about it from our perspectives and have some fun. And so the rebirth of Relationship came about, and so now it's a black queer conversation about relationships and dating. It's still out every single Wednesday. And Steve and I still talk about very important relationship issues, but we talk about it from our perspectives and kind of talk about it, how he feels about it or what he's recognizing, again, out here in these streets. And then I talk about it as I'm dealing with it every single day with that man that I call my husband.
That man, I know that's right. I know that's right. And community, if you haven't seen Steve cute as shit. So go out there, Chad. If you single and he's single, maybe we getting y'all some mingling.
My friend fine. I don't have ugly friends, so
that's
Thank you.
Yeah, so he's there.
Absolutely.
So that's it. It's been fun. And then literally as we're recording this, today was the last live recording of season 11. Everything else from here on is going to be encore episodes, but you can catch us again like every Wednesday.
Up there on our end now. It's probably still recording on your end, so if you hear us, Marko, you're frozen right now. Boom.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
Look, I was over here trying to play it off. I'm like,
I say... And we've done that many times over the years that y'all don't know, like the guest was frozen for a minute and we just over here smiling and nodding like, oh yeah.
That's a great point. So
you're right. Too funny. But we'll get him back here in a second. Looks like he's trying to come back a little bit, but yeah, no, community, like it's refreshing to kind of hear the perspective, especially like Marko and Steve is like in our like orbit now, like they're like our friends for real, and so it's just been awesome to kind of hear the shift of the podcast. Oh, there we go. I see you now. You're back, boo.
Maybe.
Oop, did I speak too soon?
It's back. I am so sorry. My dad just called, and I think that kicked me off the internet. That was good. This is like definitely 1997.
No worries.
It happens. It happens.
Got that on that hot spot. Catch me at the hot spot.
One of the things, like
rock.
Community, we're not going to steer you wrong. At the end of the day, if you're not listening to Pod Relationship, you should be. Regardless of your relationship status, it's great dialogue. It's not, what it is, it's two really highly intelligent and super self-reflective individuals that are pulling from their own experiences, talking about these things and bringing on really great guests.
Like Dewan.
I mean,
he's like, not to toot my own horn, but like me.
She has frequented them streets over there. But like what I love about the addition of Steve, and again, I love Tony. Why am I
getting choked up? It's like, I adore Tony.
I do, and Steve just brings a really great dynamic to the podcast. There's a friendship level that you all have and a camaraderie that you all have that supersedes the relationship component that you have with your husband, and it's great to see that level of frivolity. That's
a good word.
I can barely count the number of times where I've just been cackling along with the two of you in a laughing fit about whatever topic that's coming up. And I love that. And so you give really great information, you explore things in a really practical way, and you bring on guests that are really like thought-provoking and interesting. So
and it's more black queer shit, y'all. Come on. That's what we really need in this world, quite frankly.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
That's what we need.
Thank you. And thank you for vamping while my internet took a dive back to 1998 for some strange reason. It was on dial-up. My dad called and kicked me off the internet, which is crazy. It's been fun, and it's a different dynamic, obviously, because I'm not talking with my husband, which is different, but I do get to kiki with a friend. And Steve and I talk about it all the time because I listen to a lot of podcasts. Obviously, I listen to you guys every single week. I've listened to things like Surface Level. I've listened to, La Culturistas, and I just love the dynamic that y'all have as friends, and the laughter and the joy, the queerness, the blackness that exists in, some of those podcasts. And I was like, you know what? I want more of that. I want more of that energy. I want to be able to talk about sometimes serious shit. And I want to be able to lighten it up and have a good time and laugh about it. And I want to talk about things that might be sometimes uncomfortable and crazy, and then still find a way to laugh about it and make each other laugh about it. And so that's what it is these days.
That's dope. Love it. So community, if you have not subscribed, if you have not followed, now's a good time to do so. And if you haven't subscribed and followed us, because you can see all the, it's funny, you watch YouTube and they're like, I can see all the analytics that shows 80% of you guys have not subscribed. It's so fucking true. I look at the analytics, I'm like, y'all hoes watching and ain't subscribed yet. Subscribe, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Because there's a difference between downloads and subscribes and all that shit. And we be paying attention. We be paying attention. Y'all think we don't be paying attention? We be paying attention. Shit.
And the killer part about it is what I don't understand is why is it so hard? Because it's a fella that doesn't change there's no algorithms on the user end, whether it's on YouTube or it's on any of the streaming services. Just click the subscribe button. Help us out.
Everybody's just so non-committal these days, and it's just so crazy. But whatever. That's a whole other podcast episode.
Commit to us, ho. Commit to us. Damn it. You ain't got to commit to the menses and the inner thigh meats, but at least commit to your aunties.
Always commit to the
Markos
inner thigh
and
meats,
Stevens. I'll be committing. I'll be in there.
I'm gonna need some tissue after this.
Basement
Go and get you a
flooded.
towel. Anyway, before we get too much further, July is Disability Pride Month, so we go from one Pride Month to another Pride Month. So those with disabilities, we see you, we respect you, we love you. Turn up, because we're gonna turn up with you this month, and it's just wild, just like everyone thinks. Like DEI just means black and brown people. No, it means disability. There's like a spectrum to this. And so to see a lot of the things rolled back right now, and even like this crazy ass bill that went through the Senate and all this shit that's come back on a lot of stuff for disabilities is so fucking wild and infuriating to me. Besides like all the other shit that they cut back in this damn bill and adding to them. And for those that say, oh, we care about the budget, that's going to add trillions of dollars to the budget. Fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all, because y'all just talking out the side of your neck. But anyway, July Pride Month for disabilities, stand up. And actually, I looked up what the theme this year is. And let's see if I get back to my page. Is the 2025 theme is "We belong here and we're here to stay." Let me say that again. We belong here and we're here to stay. And that's the Pride Month theme this year. And we got you, boo. So we know there's folks with disabilities that listen to our podcast that are part of the community. We got you, boo. Yeah. We're here to be proud with you.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in. I've shared this on the podcast. I have an unseen disability. I have a couple. I have some physical disabilities and some unseen mental disabilities. I'm dyslexic, and so that shows up in a couple of ways for me. Obviously, transposing numbers and letters, just how my brain reacts to information is very difficult. It also affects my memory and where things are stored and whatnot. As obviously, if you ever hear anybody ask me, who's that person, what's that name, what's that lyric, don't ask the one. I can't deal with that. And from a physical perspective, I have hypohidrosis, which means I sweat profusely all over, not just like under my pits and blah, blah, blah. And the reason I'm sharing that is because people don't always know the afflictions, the troubles, the challenges, the obstacles, the pain that others may be experiencing and perhaps suffering in silence, or potentially have overcome and found a way through it and have been able to manage with their disability. So it's months like this that help us to recognize that we are not alone in our experiences, but also gives the opportunity for us who are experiencing differences to share those with others, so that people also know that they're not alone. So again, as Carol said, this month we see you, we love you, we celebrate you, and we're going to fight with you and alongside with you.
That part. Y'all, they tried to kill Beyonce. And I'm not here for it. I'm upset about it. Don't be trying to kill her. We know she's spectacular. You don't got to take her out. She'll go home. She'll gladly go home then if that's what you got to do. She will sit her ass on the couch then. Don't try to kill her in that Cadillac.
I low-key feel like she's like, damn, I got to go back to the you fucking United States of America. What can I do to prolong this exposure to all the shenanigans that are going on back there? Because she's been living her life up there in Europe for the longest time.
She said this shit didn't happen in Paris.
Yeah. It's so crazy, too, that it happened night one in Houston. It's like her own city can't even get its shit together. That's crazy.
She was livid. She was livid back there. Her and Blue Ivy.
I thought it was enough that boot wouldn't stay up. I don't know if you saw that gold boot. That gold boot that kept sliding down.
The wardrobe malfunction.
I was like, that's fine. Give it to them over there in Europe. Your boot can slide down in London. That's cute. But the fact that the whole Cadillac and Mama said, stop.
That's how you know she was like frightened. Like yeah. She doesn't show a lot of that kind of emotion that often anymore. Like, she's Beyonce.
Yeah.
So to see her up there, and you could just tell she's like, damn, I'm frightened. But then she's like, damn, now I got to keep smiling because, all these people filming the shit out of me right now. Yep. And if the last video of me on Earth is me scared, that ain't going to happen. But, like, I couldn't even imagine sitting up there because I don't want to be up there like that. No way. She probably didn't even want to be up there like that. No way. It got talked into her, but like, yeah, it's probably good to see the fans out there. Okay, you're right. And that shit over here sitting sideways. Come on, Houston, Texas. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Wait, did
so the
you
next night that shit was gone.
Let's not forget that she came out. I forget if it was the BET Awards or the MTV Music Awards or MTV Music Video Awards, where she came out upside down singing
Baby Boy.
Baby Boy, and with the medley into Dangerously in Love. Like, upside down, hanging from her goddamn tippy toes onto the stage into a chaise lounge chair.
Yeah.
Like, so she's been running stunts since the beginning. And the fact that this happened so late in her career, I mean,
she said, "Ain't there some bullshit? Let me sit my ass down."
Maybe she needs to add some more European dates.
Hello. Wait, Carell, you haven't seen the Cowboy Carter?
No, and that's the thing. I was like, y'all tried to kill Beyonce before my ass get to see this. Fuck all y'all.
Wait, are you going to see it?
So the day this episode comes out will be the night that I will be at the Cowboy Carter tour in DC. So yes.
Okay,
yes,
you're going to DC. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going for a second time in Vegas.
I'm not mad at that decision. Not
mad
at all.
I'm going for a second time in Vegas because I am obsessed with it. It was. Here's a controversial take. Maybe it'll get y'all.
No, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to have no controversial.
No,
take.
I'm not saying it. I just think that it was. I personally think that comprehensively it was, a much better tour than the Renaissance tour.
Oh damn! Then I'm about to fall out. I'm about to fall out Michael Jackson style then, because Renaissance was everything.
Renaissance was everything, and I'm not taking anything away from Renaissance. I think Renaissance was incredible. I loved Renaissance, but there is something about this tour that just feels so much more life-changing than Renaissance. Like, it just feels like I walked away and I was like, I don't even have words right now. Like, Renaissance, I left and I was hype. Like, I felt injected. I know that's a really weird word to say, but
that's
gonna be the title of this episode: Inner Thigh Meat. Injected.
I know I left Renaissance and I just felt like really hype. I felt like I got like the spirit in me. It felt like the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
But this, I felt saved. Like, I was like, this was church. Like, this was, I was baptized. Like, this was church. It was really good. I loved it. I highly recommend. So much so that I was like, I have to go a second time.
That's my assumption is once we see, because that's what happened with Renaissance. Like, we're like, okay, these tickets are crazy. Okay, let's be responsible, fiscally responsible. We saw that first because we were like, bitch, we going again.
Yeah. Yeah.
My assumption is that's what's probably going to happen again. So I will be in communication about Vegas. We'll see if we could pull this off potentially.
Oh, I would love it if you could come.
But and I've done a very good job, similar to what I did with Renaissance, of dodging a lot. Like, I'm aware because it's impossible to not, but I still haven't seen a full set list. The stuff that I see is like the same thing over and over, the same kind of few songs, handful of songs. So I've done a very good job at dodging everything again. Yeah. Like probably 75-80% of it. So I really am going into it pretty blind still, and I'm excited about that. Because there's very few things in Earth anymore that you could just like go and just like be surprised and just like in that moment. And I'm going to try my best to not even like record too much, because if I need to see it, then I could go back and like scour the internet because everybody else has like recorded it. I'm gonna try. I say that, but I'm sure I'm gonna have a little, moments here and there. I'm super excited. Like I haven't even allowed myself to really get too hyped because it was just gonna drive me crazy. Yeah. It's only been in the last day or so that I'm like, fuck, we're going to see Beyonce next week.
Yeah.
I feel bad for other artists because after Renaissance, like, we always knew that Beyonce had great stage presence and certainly great production value with her concerts. With Renaissance, we got to see that in arenas. 70, 80,000 plus people packed and having a blast and it being an even more elevated experience. And then when you go from that to damn near any other artist that's out there,
it's true.
you look around like, what?
Step your pussy up.
What is this?
Yeah.
White refrigerator.
I mean, white
Let's go find you a
refrigerator.
No, Dewan, I think you said it before. It's middle school talent show these days. Like,
I mean,
it is.
Look,
It's kind of true.
we went. So me, Carell, and his husband Corey went to see Janet in New York, and this was before she had like stopped her tour, and then she started back up again, whatever. So I haven't been to her, like I haven't seen like the newest
The
iteration
Vegas
of it or
show
whatever.
and all that,
But Vegas shows are a little bit different. Like residencies are a little bit different than like when you see them on the road. But like after we had just basically came off of 6 months prior or 8 months prior of seeing Renaissance, and knowing what we've known of what Janet can deliver. And we saw this little
Janet.
carnival, like
This little sideshow act.
So like she only got 4 dancers behind her.
God.
Yeah, I know.
There were like the lighting was like there were key lights and whatnot, but like the lighting really wasn't dynamic.
Janet said I did it for 30 years beforehand. I'm just wrapping it up now. Like so that I feel bad.
What is this?
I saw Missy, Sierra, Busta.
That was a good ass concert.
That was a really good concert. Like,
That
I
was a good-ass
actually
concert.
really loved that concert.
Yes.
And I was like, it feels good. There was Sierra sang her face off. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I was very, very pleasantly surprised by that. Missy did an amazing job. Costuming was great. She lip synced quite a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, not a big deal. I couldn't expect Missy to get up there and rap all
And
that
she's
shit.
rapping
but
a lot. That's a lot of words.
It's a lot. It's a lot of words, but it was a
And a lot of dancing.
It was a great concert. Like, it was fun.
really
Like,
was.
I had a really good time. But Beyonce,
Like outside of Beyonce, it was like one of the top 5 concerts I've seen.
yeah, 100%. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But Beyonce is the standard these
It really
days.
is. It's
so
the expectation.
It's the expectation. So now you see things like Katy Perry's old mayonnaise ass concert these days, and you're like, ooh, like, what are you doing? It's just weird, but yeah.
Yeah, like it's just the attention to detail. Even if like, because the hard thing for and we've said this before, for a lot of other artists, they just don't have the Beyonce coin.
Right. Well,
Sure.
And
that's
if
true.
they do, they're not willing to spend the Beyonce coin to get to that level. And Beyonce can get the top of the top talent in the industry of the lighting rigs, of the dancers, of the choreographers. Like she can. There's very few people. Like it's her and Taylor. Like those are the two that can spend and demand that talent. Not everyone can do that. So if you can't do that and you don't have the coin,
there's a lot that can. I will say that there is a lot, and when you look at the upper echelon of artists in their genre, there's a lot that can do it. The challenge
not
of
willing
it
to.
is they're not willing to, or they don't
not
have the
willing to.
vision.
that too. That
Taste,
too.
and I always talk about this as taste. It's like like because there is a difference between putting on a full production like what Beyonce does, and then throwing a sheet on a board of plywood and putting some spotlights on it and calling it a concert.
I'm so done. But even at the taste, and it is true, it's the taste level. Even if you're not going to spend that much, there's still ways to taste level wise and to pay attention to detail.
Yes.
That's what gets on my nerves. Like I know you don't have the coin that she's going to do. However, you do have the time and the energy to pay attention to detail and to transitions and to things like that. And so that's what pisses me more than anything. Like because seeing like a Stevie Wonder was like he probably spent 2% of what Beyonce spent on her concert, but that concert was so well put together because attention to detail and knowing how to command a room and keeping that shit moving.
And he did it all blind.
Baby, and moving between keyboards and everything. Nobody helping them move. Nothing.
Y'all ain't got no excuse.
None.
Blind.
None. So that's what irritates me about some concerts where I'm like, you just don't care. You know we're going to pay the money to see you because of your name, and now we out here, and you just lollygagging on stage. No, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
It pisses me off.
And the sad part is that you have artists that do that and then are trying to charge what Beyonce is charging for their tickets. And you show up and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Fuck out of here.
No.
No, ma'am.
That's why I don't really go to that many concerts. You know, I just
I still go, but a lot of them be pissing me off.
Yeah.
I will say, out of the ones, Missy was up there. I will actually say the Justin Timberlake concert, even though I know he's problematic for some.
I wanted to go to it. I wanted to go to it because I loved that album, so I really wanted to see it. But then I was like, do I spend? It's off of his last album.
His last album, yeah. I forget the name.
What's that album called?
Not the Montana Brokeback
Everything
Mountain
I thought that it would be. Everything I thought that it would be is what I think it was called. But I really loved that album. I thought it was a great album. But I was like, I don't have $1,200 for both Beyonce and Justin. That's crazy.
Yeah. Usher's was pretty good. Maxwell's was very good. That's another one where he didn't have all the hoopla out there. Yeah. But he was paying attention to detail and knew how to command a stage. Yeah. And the lighting was impeccable. So it's just like, you don't have to spend. Just care. Taste and care. Yeah. That's what it is for me. So, anyway, come here, we can talk about Beyonce all day. Obviously, the day that we're recording this, the big news is that Mr. Combs, Sean Diddy Combs, was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but he was really acquitted on like the big charges. So he could still face up to 20 years in prison because of those 2 charges. The judge decided later this evening that your ass is staying in jail. You ain't getting no bail, nothing like that. So he's got to stay until the sentencing in the fall. The internet is already up and the internet is already, especially the black internet, it's already got all they tricks and memes and whatever it is out there. What are you guys feeling about this verdict here today?
Well, Dewan, I just want to point out that if you remember very specifically during an argument that we had with my uncle during NYC Pride, where we were all sitting around, I literally said that this exact thing was what was going to happen. Specifically, I was like, they're not going to get him on the racketeering. No. Mind you, my uncle was trying to say that he's going to get acquitted on everything. And I was there's no way he's going to get acquitted on everything. We know too much right now. Yeah. I said, there's no way. They're going to get him on something. And he's black. I said, it's going to be hard to get him on the racketeering situation because they just are not pulling in enough big guns to be able to prove it. I said, and the sex trafficking thing is going to be very difficult to prove, especially if you cannot prove the racketeering situation. So if you don't have that, it's going to be a problem. But they are not going to let him slide with the prostitution, the transportation of prostitution. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah. And so I said exactly this. I think, because I did follow this case very, very closely. I was like, I loved this. I mean, because this is the drama that I was looking for. It was delicious. And I hate saying that, especially when so many people are affected by this, and there are lives associated with the situation. And this is television. This is entertainment. I need them to throw the book at his ass. They couldn't get him for everything. Yeah. Which is fine, because I definitely feel like the prosecution definitely did not come with their A game. Like, I don't think that they had everything that they wanted, but they wanted to make an example out of him. And so I feel like they did their best. But that being said, he could potentially get up to 20 years. I don't think he'll get a full 20. I definitely do not, but there is hope, because Mama said, "Bitch, you go stay here."
You sure did. You stay here through the fall. You ain't getting out in the streets in the summer. No, we see what you're doing during the summer.
Yeah,
we learn too much what you do during the summer.
And I was like, okay, this is what I like to see. So it's crazy.
They said prosecutors said that they're seeking 4 to 5 year prison sentence. So.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, which is exactly what I said. I said if he sees a full 5 years, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
I will be very surprised. He definitely will get time served in some capacity, and he'll probably be out in like 3 to 4 years.
I was thinking the same. Yeah. On good behavior.
Yeah.
I wonder where they're going to send him. Like 5 years is going to be pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like, this is just karma. Like just coming back and just saying, listen, you did all this dirt, and I'm sure this is not the end of the punishment, that he will experience.
He has over 70 civil lawsuits against him right now.
Nigga
he
broke.
Will spend the rest of his days hiring lawyers. His lawyers cost over $15 million for this case alone.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong profession.
$15 million.
Wrong profession.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that I could handle the stuff that comes along with these kind of cases. Like,
I know I couldn't.
Honestly, it makes me wonder, how do people sleep at night, knowing that they are responsible for trying to get off somebody that they knowingly has done some dirty ass shit. And I get it. A lot of people are listening to podcasts right now. They're like, they sleeping on that money. That's how they sleeping good at night. But let me tell you, there are a lot of people that got money that ain't sleeping good at night. And like the shit that they have to know in their heads, know for a fact, and still have to act different and somehow try to reconcile, their commitment to the money, to the client, to the, to the law, whatever, the legal obligations or whatever, and reconcile that with their own moral compass. That's tough. That's tough work.
And then like you see them like 10 years later out here still doing crazy shit. And you're like, damn, I don't help this Negro out. Yeah, I'm not built for it, quite frankly, either. But you hear that $15 million, you're like, damn, maybe one trial and then I quit.
Just one big one.
Just one.
It's interesting because there's a side of me that, like, not to Pollyanna out on this shit, but like, there's a side of me that likes to believe that, like, everyone deserves a fair shot at all of this. And it's not that you don't believe that they did all this shit, but, there's things. People come from different backgrounds and different things affect their lives, and they shouldn't be punished by the worst days of their life, right? And all that bullshit, right? But I
feel that way when it comes to like a lot of black people, period. Like, just like there is a slight moment in my brain, I'm like, yeah, that nigga got off. But then the other part of me is like, oh God, he like negatively impacted so many people and put hands on people, and that part of me is just like, no, put him in jail. But it's just like the other part of it is just like, there's so many white people in this country that get off. We have a fucking president right now that got off of all this shit. So that's the part of me that say, but I'm glad this Negro got off too, because at least if this is going to be set up to get them off, get us off too, then damn it.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't know if you guys have been following the Brian Koberger case as well. The guy, the Kings Road killings, like the guy that literally went into like the sorority house in, I think it was in Idaho, and like killed like 4 people while there. So
what is this called?
The Kings Road killings, which is crazy. It's really crazy. And so he like went in there, he killed all these people. He killed these like 4 college students, like 3 girls and 1 guy. And Idaho, the state where they're at, like he pled not guilty initially, but the state where he's at, because Idaho is like one of the only states that still believes in the death penalty by way of a firing squad. Like literally.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know out here reckless. Okay.
They are crazy. He ended up he just submitted his plea of guilty in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table, and he will serve 4 consecutive life sentences as a result of it. So I say all of that to say that, to your point, white people out here be wildin'. And they be doing all sorts of shit, and we throw them several bones and find several different ways and or opportunities to spare their lives behind the situation. Oh, it's a mental health crisis. Oh, it's their background, it's their family. But meanwhile, black people be doing wild shit too. Let's be honest, because people is people, right? So they be doing shit too, but they get the book thrown at them just by way of being black, and it's the problem.
1,000%. So take that.
Low key though, like when shit broke about Pity, it was like, finally, goddamn, this nigga been out here doing a whole bunch of shit.
So much. They've been talking about it for years.
We've been hearing about it. Like, it was the same thing with R. Kelly. It's like, okay, finally. Like, I don't like to see it in the sense of, it's like, oh, this is a justified witch hunt, but it's still a witch hunt against a prominent black man when there's a whole bunch of other white people that are out there that are doing a whole lot worse that you don't hear anything about. We don't go after them with the same kind of rigor. So, like, I'm always a little bit conflicted. Like, I want the bad doers to get, to get what's coming to them and to have justice being served. Yes. But also, like, I want a little bit of equity, like you take one of ours down, take one of yours down. Like, let's,
No, take one of ours down, take about 34 of yours down.
This is true.
And then that'll be even. And then that'll be
take about 34, 35 of them.
Mind you, R. Kelly was found guilty on racketeering charges. So they managed to get him on that. But just as another reminder, children was involved. So that's why it was much easier to get him on that charge than it was Diddy.
And people were locked up in houses and shit, and man, that shit is wild. Yeah.
But I wonder which studio is going to be the first one that's running over to him trying to get the rights to his story.
Oh, I mean, 50 out here already trying to do it. You see?
With all the AI shit.
50 tried.
50 is so fucking petty.
Petty.
What was the Family Matters one?
It was a Family Matters one, but he called it something. Yeah.
It was like Baby Lou Matters or some shit like that.
So good.
50
so
just
good.
does not care. That, like, there's a few people that I just don't ever want to be on their bad side. He's one. TS is one.
TS one. Madison, you don't want to be on her bad
and
side.
that might be about it. Everyone else I can handle my own, I think.
Yeah.
Them two? Hell no. I'm scared of shit.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, anyway, comedian, you know what?
Cat Williams would probably be on that list for me as well, I would
But
say.
Cat Williams, though, like, he just tells the truth, though. At least, seemingly, it feels like it. And so, if you don't want your truth told, then yes, don't hang with Cat.
And that's how I feel about Azalea Banks too. Like, it's not that she be telling truth, but she just be name calling and just be saying all sorts of shit.
Reckless.
She'll take you out of your religion. That's what Azalea will do, because you'll be wanting to slap the shit out of her based off the shit that she be saying.
Which is so frustrating because she's so talented and she could be having such an amazing career, but she fucks it up with her just nasty ass mouth. It's just like, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even rooting because she just did it early on. I was like, okay, I can't take this girl.
She crazy.
But she got some bops. I'll give it that.
I love a queen with a little bit of mess. Wendy Williams,
You do like
Azalea
a
Banks.
little bit. Ooh, speaking of, this is on the list. Did you end up watching all of the seasons of Couples Therapy?
Oh no, I'm like, so okay, y'all.
So, comedian,
me.
Dewan loves him like a little TV moment.
Baby.
And he's like, I'm gonna start watching Couples Therapy, that Showtime show. And that was like my because it started before COVID, I believe. And I found it, I believe, during COVID or right after COVID or something. And I went down a rabbit hole and watched like the first like 3 seasons like in one night. Like, I was so fucking hooked.
Which,
Can I
So
tell you
I have
guys
a-
by the way,
funny?
community, you if you don't know, Carell is not the TV watching
No.
person.
No.
If it's 30 minutes, can it be 15? Like that's
like because
that's him.
I calculate the hours. That's more than anything. It's like if I'm behind on a show, then in my head I'm like, damn, it's an hour-long show. There's 22 episodes this season, and this is season 5. I ain't got it. It just overwhelms me. Even though I probably do have the time, just the thought of it overwhelms me. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that. But that one got me.
Can I tell you guys a funny story?
Oh, go ahead.
Really quickly before you say that? Yeah. Tony and I actually auditioned to be on Couples Therapy.
Did you really?
Really?
And
What was that process like?
Yeah, we auditioned. We auditioned twice. And it was like like we were very close to being picked. Very, very close to being picked, to the point where they had us like virtually meet with the therapist that was going to be on the show to like talk about all of our problems.
Our shit.
And then they just ended up going with another couple. And then the second time we did it, it wasn't a really good time because we were like not in a good place after like my cancer surgery, all of that other stuff like that. So it just didn't work out that way. But yeah, we were close to being on that show.
How did you even hear about it to go on it? Or had this season been out already and then you're like, ooh, that would be kind of fun to go on?
If I remember correctly, I was listening to the Savage Love cast, and Dan Savage had put out like a PSA about the audition. And me, just being me, I'm like, let me just throw out an audition and see what happens. And I did. And they emailed me back. It was like, like we would love to. And then Tony and I like auditioned the first time. They asked us about all of our problems. And then they emailed us back and was like, we want to talk to you again. And so we like auditioned a second time with like the producers of the show. And then they emailed us back after that and was like, we want you to like meet with like a therapist that like as like an interim therapist, like while we locked down the actual therapist. And we were like, fine, okay. So we did that. And then they were like, we want you guys we found the therapist. Will you guys like audition with the therapist that is going to be on the show? And Tony and I were like, sure. And so we auditioned with them. Wild. Yeah, it's crazy. So and then we did, like I said, we ended up going with another couple. But yeah, we almost were on the show. It's crazy.
Y'all must not have been severe enough because, baby, the situations that these couples are in.
Yes.
I don't even. I'm sorry. I have so many thoughts that are trying to race towards my mouth right now. I feel bad for the psychoanalyst, for Anya, because she got to sit here and actively listen to the copious amount of bullshit that be coming out of people's mouths and the blatant egoism and self-righteousness that these people sit in. And she has the most calming,
oh my God, yes,
but very firm and directive and inquisitive tonality that cuts through all of that. I started watching. I thought I was watching the first season. It turns out I started watching the last season.
Okay.
But I'm halfway through. So I'm all the way through the 4th season, and then I'm halfway through season 3.
Okay.
And I just watched 3 episodes today.
I know.
It is just so.
It's good ass TV.
People, here's what I would say. On the surface, a TV show about couples going through therapy does not sound enjoyable.
Right.
And it's not really enjoyable in the, like Real Housewives of, couples therapy kind of way. There are no gotcha moments and all that kind of stuff. But what I appreciate about watching the show is, we start out the podcast with acknowledging, Disability Pride Month and talking about how, sometimes it's important to see yourself in others. And I really appreciate that with all the couples, most of the couples, you get to see a reflection of yourself in some way at some point in time in your own life's journey, right? Maybe not one for one, but there are glimpses. And through that, and through the coaching that these couples get through their psychoanalyst, there's some really amazing questions, very introspective questions that become really powerful tools. And in watching the season and a half of this, I've learned a lot. And I've recognized a lot that I don't want to demonstrate.
That's gonna be like, damn, low key.
Because there will be times where someone is saying something, and I'm just like, I feel you. I feel exactly what you're saying. Like, just, and then Anya will say something that
She'll break that shit down. You'll be like, damn.
She'll be like, is it possible that there's another way to look at it? Is it possible that there is another way to interpret that experience? And then in my mind, I'm like, no, ho, there ain't. It's just this. It is what it is. Now we got to deal with it. And then she'll say with other scenarios, I'm like, God damn, you right.
Like, you right.
Yeah.
Have you ever done? I'm assuming Marko, Tony, maybe you have, and I think I know the answer because of just the podcast. But have you done couples therapy before?
Yes, not as much as you would think, but yes, no. We have done. Yeah, but we have done a little bit.
Corey and I did too. I made him do it before we got married. And maybe that was the black church in me saying like, oh, we better go see the pastor before we get married kind of thing. But we went to a couples therapy, a gay couple therapist or whatever. Corey hated that shit. Hated it.
Yeah. What was it that he hated about it? Was it the actual experience?
I don't want to speak for him because there's just going to start fights or whatever.
Well, but from your perspective,
for me, I literally I like just getting to the core things, figure this shit out so we can figure it out and just move on or split or whatever it may be. I really genuinely like just getting to the essence of who we are. And it's easier said than done. And I have my own shit too. For him, he's just not built that way. He doesn't want to dig. He doesn't want to unpack shit. He's found a way to kind of move on the way he needs to move on, and let's keep on moving, even though not realizing maybe some shit in the past is impacting the present. And it's hard for him. And for him, he just felt more that it's just creating more. Because a lot of times you got to go through a lot of shit to finally get to the sunrise and the situation. And it's the going through shit where it might feel like we're fighting more, that we're whatever it may be, and the uncomfortableness of it all. That's the part he just felt like maybe we're taking 10 steps back to take one step forward, not realizing that eventually you're going to take a lot more steps forward than steps back. Yeah. So it was hard for him. I was loving it, but it was hard though. There's some shit I was like, I fucking hate this human being.
Yeah.
And that's the part that a lot of people aren't built for. I'm built for that. I could hate you right now, and then maybe even in the future, but at least I'll know why we need to. He's just not built like that. So we went for a little bit, and then he was just like, I can't. And he's like, I just can't. This is too much for me. And so we stopped going. Yeah. I wish we kind of would have kept. And he did better, and I did better after that too. There's nuggets that we took from that kind of has helped us honestly to this day, quite frankly. But I feel like for him specifically, there's just stuff even to this day of just past relationships that have just damaged him, that he just refuses to kind of unpack. And that's my perception. Maybe he doesn't have that perception. He's probably listening bitch, why are you saying this on the podcast? So I'm going to shut up now.
One of the things I really appreciate
and mine too, though. There's just stuff that I was unpacking that I was just okay, I do that. Okay, let me do better on that, So, anyway.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the way that this show is constructed and who they have as the person to work with, Anya, is her approach and the discipline that she's in. It's psychoanalyst, It's not a behavioral therapist, which is what most people go to, which is what are the behaviors that you are demonstrating? How do we course correct or resolve these behaviors in order to da-da-da-da-da? And this is a very different, much more, there is a strong intellectual component to her therapeutic style that's not necessarily based in behavior, but it is in correlation. It's a correlation to what has happened in your past that has informed the way that you show up and interpret things, and therefore the way that you communicate and act, and therefore act out. And let's unpack that. And there is a intellectual component that still has emotional ties to it, because you're talking about things that are deeply, you're talking about cheating, you're talking about polyamory, you're talking about, blatant disrespect and all these other kinds of things that generate some kind of an emotional response, because it's high stakes. You have a relationship that you care for deeply. There's a certain level of commitment and a certain level of trust, and other things like betrayal and whatnot kind of come in and erode some of that. And there's a desire for a lot of these couples to repair that or get clarity on how do they move forward. And I never thought of it that way. I've always heard of, you hear of especially through television and sitcoms and whatnot, you hear of people going to their analyst, right? Mm-hmm. And I always equated, okay, analyst is just another word for, a behavioral therapist, but they're different. They're very different disciplines, very different approaches. And so I love that I'm going through a season where even the therapist questions with one couple, I don't know if I can help you.
I can,
that was so beautiful to see as a viewer of a show that's rooted in reality, and having someone say, I'm not just going to do this because it's a paycheck. I might not be the one because I can't reach you. And if I can't reach you, or if I can't understand you, and where you're coming from, and you are resistant to opening yourself up to this process, then what is we doing?
Is we finished or is we done?
That part. Yeah. So I'm invested. To say the least.
I knew you would. The second you said you were going to watch it, because I think you first mentioned it in Seattle. I was like, girl, you about to get hooked. I'm letting you know. And then when you finally put it on your stories, I was like, you hooked, ain't you?
You originally told me on Thanksgiving 2 years ago when we came came to see you, and we were just talking, shooting the shit or whatever. You're like, okay, I'm going to add this to my list of stuff. And one thing y'all know about me is I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to add it to my list. I'm going to get around to it. So I got around to it, baby. I kicked my legs up. I crossed my legs, put my blanket on. I closed the door, and I just, bitch, we in therapy together.
Yes. It's so true.
Love it.
That's so true. So community. So if you're looking for something to watch, that's a good one to watch. If you haven't watched it, let us know if you watched it. I haven't watched this latest season because I was like, I know once I get in there, I'm gonna be sitting there for 8 hours. So I'll be sitting there for 8 hours. And there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
you hear these people's problems, and low key, it makes your life feel really small.
That's
there
what
are some
it really
people out there
does.
that are struggling. I'm like, how are y'all still together?
Maybe I should take it as a compliment that Tony and I didn't get picked, because maybe our problems just weren't that big. Maybe we weren't good for television, because that's the thing.
It's true.
They said, we don't need
I had so many questions, even just like the background. I know we get a little long here, community, on this topic, but I'm just curious, just like, how did you even convince Tony to go along with it?
We were without getting too deep into it, we were in a rough time at our relationship, and I was like, we're either gonna do this on national television or we're gonna do this with an actual therapist. But one way or another, we need to see a therapist. And here's a really great opportunity, and I think that it would be really helpful for us. And he was like, okay, fine. That's fine. If it happens, it'll happen. And like I said, we went through a couple of the sessions. We talked about everything, and we kept getting move to the next phase. So I was like, oh shit, we can really talk about all our problems on air. And
I don't know if I could do it on air. I don't know if I would be able to be as honest as I would want to be. Mm-hmm. Like, it's already hard to be that honest in therapy. And then to be that honest, to at least for me, like, if I'm paying to be in therapy, bitch, I want to get better. I want to get well. And so I want to be as transparent and honest as I can. And it's already hard to do that with yourself. Then to have your partner, your husband, your spouse with you, that's a whole nother level. To learn your therapist, that's a whole nother level. And then to have the TV and just to know in the back of my brain, I want to say that, but I think I would almost edit myself a little. Like, I might be 98% there. I think I wouldn't be able to be a full 100%, quite frankly. Just because I wouldn't want the perception of hurting my human either on national TV.
It was a very interesting thing for us because we had already been doing it on the podcast. At that time, we were doing a podcast where we were talking about relationship issues and our relationship to them. So we were like, this is shit that we've been going through, and we've been very candid. If y'all listen to past iterations of the podcast, there are many episodes where Tony and I were 100% arguing with one another, and the record was going on. The record was going on. So we were like, we've already done a version of this.
That's true.
And we don't have an adult in the room to actually like gather us and like help us do something. Yeah. So maybe this will help. Maybe I think at the time we were like, maybe this will help the podcast. Right? Yeah. Like, it'll give us like more tools to be able to do it.
That's a good podcast. Is there, like, I guess I don't listen to therapy podcasts. Is there one that's like the show that it's just seasons of it on the podcast? If not, that's a good ass idea. Yeah. Say Minority Report and
I will tell
Relationship Pod helped you out with that idea.
I will tell 10%. You that like on the surface, doing something like this, I probably would not be as inclined to have like all my shit out in the streets, right? I mean, y'all know, like, I'll talk about a lot of stuff, but there are certain things that I don't talk about on the podcast. Because I do believe in keeping some things sacred, but having watched this season, and if I was in a relationship that was in crisis and I had the opportunity to work specifically with Anya, because one of the benefits that you get as a viewer is you get to see what this person's process is. Yeah. And I love the fact that she's can cut through. She can recognize and cut through the BS that the people are giving. She has a really great way of, you can tell that she's listening because she's always paraphrasing, saying back to people, what I heard you say was, or what he's trying to say is XYZ, and putting words to cut through the feeling. And while they don't, they show the process, and you get to see some results. I mean, but it's always a journey. So it's not like, okay, everybody's cured by the time they go through this process, Therapy is a journey. Relationships is a journey, But I would be more inclined if I had a relationship that was in crisis, I would be more inclined to do this if I had the opportunity to do it in a format like that, because it is kind of a crapshoot, when you just out here in these streets and you're looking for a therapist. And you're like, I got to find somebody, and then you got to find somebody that you jive with, and there's not like a sizzle reel of therapists out there, which maybe there should be, that demonstrates their approach, so that you get a sense before you book an appointment, wait for that appointment, you get there, and and then you find out you spill all this money. Pay your money for this, and you spill your guts out on the thing, and they look at you like Barney Rubble, like it doesn't work. Yeah. So if I was in crisis and I had the opportunity to work with that particular psychoanalyst, I would jump at the opportunity.
She there in New York. Well, I guess you're not in crisis though. So yeah. No, I oh god, I knew you would love that show, because like, you and I are similar in that regard, because we like the brainiac part of it.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's just different than a lot of the other therapy shows that have been out there. So
I also like the destigmatization that is associated with it as well. And that was, I think, what drew me to it, was that, like, we all, it's part of the reason why we created the podcast anyways, is that, like, we all are going through this shit. We just all aren't talking about it. So, like, let's just, like, get on the show. Let's, like, talk about it. Let's have a way to figure our way through it so that hopefully it encourages other people to be like, hey, I want you to watch this episode of this show and I want to have a conversation with it. Do you mind? And then be like, I wanted you to watch this because I'm feeling this way and I just needed you to know this. Like, how can we work our way through it? Again, that might be me Pollyanna-ing the situation, but, like, I think about those things, and even if you help just one person with it, then, like, maybe it works.
Worthwhile. Yeah. Damn, I don't know how I got us all on that side tangent. We were going to do an Yo Aunteas, but I think we're going to save that for another day here. But before we get out of here, I know you guys did New York Pride. I didn't go out there this year. I was like, a bitch is tired this year. I'm staying my ass right here in Philadelphia. How was Philly Pride? How was New York Pride?
Your guess is as good as mine because we didn't do anything. No.
You didn't do nothing either.
Yeah. No, I mean, we all went to and even met up with you at World Pride in DC. And I think we all, like, got back to the house that we were staying at and we were like, I think we're a little not in the mood to, like, celebrate Pride the way that we used to. It's just not something that we're, like, made for anymore. And so we knew Pride was coming around. We wanted to celebrate a little bit. And then our friend Eduardo, shout out to Eduardo, we, like, bullied him on the podcast to hosting us at his apartment, and that's essentially what we did. So we all went over there, we had drinks, we played a game, we laughed, we listened to music, we had a good time. Dewan left us, and then Tony left us, of course, because y'all know that Tony's bedtime is like 7:30. And then Steve, Eduardo, and I went out locally. We went out in Queens to we went to Icon. And I went
Shout out to Icon
like,
Bar. That bar is, like, you can just catch your life there. It is so...
It's a touty bar, but it's kind of everything really at the same time.
It's hit or miss. Because sometimes you be going there and you be like, ooh, I'm living my best life. And sometimes you be going there and you be like, where the hell did all these people come from?
It is such a weird, like, Bermuda Triangle of communities. And I love it.
It feels very so Midwest. Very, like, Toledo, Ohio.
Yes, it's so bizarre. And so we went there. We had a little bit of fun, but I think I left at like 10:30ish.
Nice.
We all at Steve's house on Friday, and we had it wasn't really Pride related, but it was a reminiscence of our trip to Spain. And baby, I
forgot about that.
Drunk.
We all got drunk.
Yeah, I had to go. I had to leave, and usually, like,
to go.
And y'all know, like, community might not know this because I don't be in the streets all like that. But, you know, like, when I'm ready to go, I'm out. I don't really say goodbye. I just leave. You know,
don't long blink because you'll miss Dewan leaving because he'll be gone.
You'll get a text like, I made it home.
Yeah, you'll be like,
have fun, enjoy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not about to be falling down and being messy and, you know, like, that's not my ministry. So when I start feeling a little like, it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to bed. Time to sleep some of this alcohol off. So Friday night was hella drunk. Saturday didn't really do that much, just like chilled. And honestly, I just really wasn't in like the celebratory Pride spirit. Like I didn't want to go to any parades. I didn't want to, like, you know, I was actually supposed to go to a little, you know, dance circuit-y kind of like, you know, dance party that Sunday night. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't go. No. I just when I booked that, I was just in a very different headspace. And after, you know, like after like
Sorry.
all the shit that's been going on and spending time with my friends and whatnot, I was just like, I really don't need it. I really don't need to be, in a club with a whole bunch of like, people that are, like having the fun that they're having and the way that they like to do that. I was like, you know what? I'd rather go home. And so I left I left Eduardo's brunch, who was so lovely to host. And then I went over to my best friends, Ugo and Milos, who moved to a place in Astoria, met up with them. They were all going out.
I know. I was talking to Ugo, and I was like, I don't think I'm making it out there, girl.
Yeah. I know they don't listen to the podcast, so I'm going to tell you this.
That part.
I was trying to figure out how to get.
tea.
I was trying to figure out how to get out of it, and I told a little white lie, and I was like, oh, my stomach's hurting. I really don't feel like, being out in Brooklyn, at some dance party, and I got the bubble guts, and trying to go to the bathroom at them circuit parties. Y'all know how to. So they were like, oh yeah, I get that, but maybe you'll feel a little bit better later in the night or whatnot. And I was like, okay. So I was able to get
hold on, I got some Pepto for you. Here's some Pepto-Bismol.
Babies, they were trying to drag me out into these streets, and I just had to say I needed a way to get out of it that was beyond my control. It's above me now, or below me.
It gets really tough, like, and again, no judgment on anybody that likes to go out there and do that whole like partying thing, but like you start thinking about Pride and you're like tens of thousands of people pushed up, hot weather.
Still sounds fun to me, low-key.
Hot weather.
Damn, I missed it.
By the way, it was also Sunday. It was also Sunday night.
It was
that was what it was this year. I was like, damn.
People have to do shit on Monday.
Yeah.
Like it just gets tough. And so it's not that I don't want to have that fun. It's that I'm just like
picking and choosing
battle. I would rather, Dewan was like, it's gonna be brunch, like let's drink some champagne and like do that whole thing, and I'm like, yes, get me home by 7:00 so I can I can have a nice buzz and I can go to bed and I don't have to be out in the sun and I don't have to worry about any of that shit. Like I'm good to go.
Look, I love me a good party. I love me a little dance gig. I love to shake my little tits, for Jesus and rattle my little bones, in whatever way my special kind of way. But dance. You know what? Like I was just like, there were two things going on for me. One, it was what I shared earlier. The other thing was like, there is just a lot of shit going on. The world is batshit crazy, and New York is a target. And like, so low key, I'm literally processing like, okay, I don't really want to be near any parades. I don't want to be. There were people that end up getting shot.
Two women got shot in front of Stonewall. Yes.
In front of Stonewall over the weekend. So it was just like, like while that wasn't necessarily the driving force, because I can take care of myself. If shit goes down, then we'll take care of it. But I ain't trying to put myself in danger's way. So I said, you know what? I'm in a different headspace than when I was when I booked these tickets, and I really don't want to be around a whole bunch of people right now. So let me just fake my little
my bubble
IBS
guts and go home
and go home and watch couples therapy.
She's like, I got some couples therapy to watch.
Fair. There.
Yeah,
if y'all want,
I get it.
I'm sorry. And if y'all want a quick cocktail that'll get you nice and drunk real quick, while we were in Spain, we were drinking this cocktail called Tinto de Verano. And it's essentially red wine and this lemon soda.
Oh, that's Heartburn City.
And you mix the two. And like you probably do like 1/3 lemon soda and 2/3 like red wine. Yep. It didn't help that we had chapitos, which were tequila shots with oranges and cinnamon as your chaser, which was delicious.
Yes. We always do pineapple after tequila shots. And it's the
interesting.
best thing on planet Earth.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna try oranges, cinnamon now. Okay.
Oranges, and you sprinkle cinnamon on top of it. You take your shot, and then you bite into the orange and cinnamon. It's delicious.
It's really good.
But that said, that Tinto de Verano had all of us. All of us were twisted. All of us. We was like,
that's a good drag name.
We were supposed to watch. The new Noah's Ark movie that is out on Paramount or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Paramount.
we got so hammered. The topic of turning the TV on never even came up.
Joanna, I didn't wake up until 4:30 that Saturday.
Oh, okay. I was up at 6.
4:30. I was.
PM?
I was.
Oh, but you know what? But you guys.
That
went
sounds
out,
like
though.
judgment.
You guys also went out.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Not that night. No, that was that Friday night. That night we didn't go
that was
out.
only Steven and Eduardo who went out. That's right.
In all fairness, though,
That's right.
I literally did. I didn't get home until 3:00 in the morning. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because like we stayed over and talked at Steve's all night, and then we didn't go home. So I like I didn't go to bed.
30 in a minute. So that's why you ain't do no shit for Pride, because bitch, you just got home.
And I was only there until 10:30. I was only there until 10:30. Like 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock at the latest. And I was like,
Dewan was
She
gone.
said, I didn't feel like doing anything. No, ho, you were still asleep. That's why you ain't did shit for Pride.
I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, if I go out and do shit for Pride, catch me. I'm Rip Van Winkle in this shit. I'm out forever.
Well, community, if you're out there if you enjoyed your Pride, let us know what you did for Pride.
yeah.
And obviously, I feel like this year is just like flown by, so I can't believe that we're already in July. But hopefully, you guys were safe and sound and out there. And shout out to Eduardo and Steven. Like, I ran into them randomly in New York when I was there for the
Queerties.
oh god, the queer. What's the name of this code? Wish You Were Queer premiere in New York. And I was hanging out with them, and they went to grab food. So I went to Social Atlas Club, and who did I see? Eduardo. Just sitting there. I'm like, hey, girl. And that was actually after I texted you, Marko. You're like, no, I'm in the Hamptons, darling. I'm in the Hamptons. Literally, I had texted you, and like 15 minutes later, ran into Eduardo. It was crazy.
I know, and I was driving because I was going to be like, oh, Eduardo and Steve might be out, so you should text him. But I was like driving, and then my white ass husband ain't going. He just stop looking at your phone, and I was like, okay, fine, like whatever, it's fine. But
those moments. I was in the south of France at that time.
Oh,
the Hamptons in the south of France, and I was at Atlas.
Fuck my drag.
Okay.
He was like, oh, the Hamptons, that's cute. I was in the south of France.
Yes, I was in the south of France.
I didn't mean it like that.
In a different headspace.
And on
And
that
on that
note,
note, anything else in your hearts and minds?
Oh, Lord, get me.
Marko, we appreciate you filling in for Heyyy Boo.
Yes,
I know this community is
thank
like,
you.
y'all just gabbing. Now, hey, we had to catch up. But again, remind them where to find the podcast, what days it comes out, where you're at on socials, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Relationsh is out every Wednesday, everywhere you listen to podcasts. So just search for it on your favorite podcast platform. And then you can hop on Instagram. We are at Pod Relationshit on Facebook and Instagram. You can check us out there and all of our content there. So yeah, shout out to my co-host Steve.
Hey, Steve. That's what we should have done. We should get Steve to fill in one of these days, too. So the community can see.
He's very
Steve,
boring.
Get him,
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Get him booed up. Get him da-da-da-da booed up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anything else on your hearts and minds before we get out of here?
no, we love y'all. Just keep listening and subscribe.
Please
Yeah.
do. Please do.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. Next week we have a couple of additional special guests because everybody be in Europe but Carell. But it'll be a good episode. So looking forward to that. And until then, wash your hands, your legs, and your ass. And we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.